Don't let your moment of glory turn into your worst nightmare.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot and Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
Remember when running an agency meant solving exciting problems, crafting killer strategies, and building meaningful relationships with clients? And now it feels like chasing emails, double-checking deadlines, and micromanaging the details. Let Copper CRM bring the spark back. Built for Google Workspace, Copper helps digital agencies automate follow-ups, manage leads effortlessly, and keep client conversations crystal clear without the overwhelm. Stay organized and win your time back and start loving your work again. Try it for free for 14 days at copper.com/happyclients and use Happy Clients for 15% off of an annual plan while limited time only. Well, welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, Tom. I'm really excited to have you here on the show and to ask you all of the questions when it comes to what you've been up to and how you help agencies. So welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast.
Thanks, Taylor. I'm super excited to be here and get to know your audience a little bit better.
Amazing. Okay, so let's dive right in. Let's start with the basics. Can you explain to me, explain it to your grandma vibes, version of what Convesio is and why agencies should care?
Sure. So we provide 3 products and services. We have a hosting platform designed for agencies. We have an email marketing platform designed for small businesses and e-commerce sites. And we have a payments platform. From an agency perspective, we really tried to take the workload off of an agency. Hosting, nobody wants to be in the hosting space, right? So we have a killer platform combined with white glove concierge support for agencies to take some of the hassle out of dealing with hosting and managing websites. For the individual consumers out there, we provide a stack of growth tools to help them grow the revenue, customers, and engagement of their website. And we like to think of this in the sense of whether you're starting, growing, or scaling. So think of the 3 different life cycles of a business. You can do all of that at Convesio with our stack for hosting, converting, and paying online.
So was there this light bulb moment that went off when you were like, I need to start this business for agencies? How did you start it?
Well, I heard a really good saying once because everyone tends to ask, like, when should you do a startup? When should you do something? And somebody once said, when you can't resist it anymore, and it's bothering you that you're not doing it. We started in the hosting space, and I've been in the agency space and been around web and WordPress and websites for a long time. It bothered the product person in me that there was so much what I call me too in the hosting space. Like anyone can throw up a server box or set up a server and say, I'm a hosting provider now. And there was really very little innovation going on in the space. And so that really fueled me to say, can we do something different in hosting? It was really a no-brainer to do it in WordPress because I've kind of been in love with WordPress and the ecosystem for a long time. And so that's how we got started. And really it was to see if we could radically do something different than what was being done on the market in the hosting space. And then that evolved into what we have today, which is this full stack of commerce tools and growth tools.
Cool. That's awesome. I love that saying when it's bothering you that you're not doing it. And I feel like that sometimes about all these different business ideas. I'm like, gotta rein it in, Taylor, gotta rein it in. So
Yeah.
how do you use that saying to make sure you're staying on track? So most account managers who are probably listening aren't necessarily fluent in tech, we'll call it. So what's the simplest way that we as account managers can explain to clients why hosting actually matters and why it's so important?
Yeah. This is really, really an important topic because, the hosting market is fairly commoditized, right? It's like people sort of tend to think of I just need a place to put my website. The reality is, a poor hosting setup can have really bad effects on your business and on your security. And if you think about all the potential things that could go wrong with your website, it could get hacked, it could have performance issues. We have this terminology or phrase at Convesio because we deal with a lot of big stores that are scaling and they have big sale events. And we like to throw this phrase out there: don't let your moment of glory turn into your worst nightmare. And that's a way to think about when you have a huge promotion, opportunity, viral mention, whatever it might be, and your site crashes. This is the kind of thing that will drive a business owner crazy. And so we really focus on security, performance, scalability. And all of those are critical to a business's success, and they can be very detrimental to if something goes wrong with them. It can be lost revenue, lost leads, lost brand if their site's hacked and defaced. And so really that's the way you need to frame the importance of hosting. It's kind of like, do you want to have an alarm system on your business, your building, so people don't come in and steal all your inventory? Are you going to work with experts in finance and accounting to do your books? Well, you should work with experts in hosting to make sure that you've got people there, especially in the sense that there's such a growing amount of threats out there on websites. Like cybersecurity issues are at an all-time high. So I tend to coach people that you need a team of experts. You don't need to be the expert. The business doesn't want to be the expert. The account manager shouldn't be the expert, but you need a team of experts you can rely on. And that's what we really do at Convesio. We are that team of performance, security, scaling, compliance experts on the web for agencies. That's how I would frame it to the end client.
So you talk a lot about the security. Are you doing something different than the bigger players or the other players when it comes to security? Or how are you setting up your clients for
Yeah.
success? Yeah.
You'll notice out there that everybody says they have high security. Everyone says
Hmm.
they're fast. This is why the hosting market is so saturated. And quite frankly, it's difficult for agencies to understand what the differences are in choosing a host, right? We have Cloudflare Enterprise on the edge. So, yes, that's something that some hosts don't have, but some hosts do. We have malware scanning. We have all the things you would want. Okay. But that's not where we stop because, see, we're really a service company. We're not necessarily an infrastructure company, and we provide infrastructure, but we actually come behind the agency. So, we offer HIPAA compliant hosting for healthcare sites, right? And so part of that is technology, but part of it is things like you need two-factor authentication. You need to have these things locked down on your site. And that's more of a service component that you need an expert to come help you with. If your site is hacked, we will clean it manually if our automated tools don't get it, right? And so we're that we're that Slack channel, really, because we support everyone in Slack. We're that Slack channel you can go to get immediate assistance around any of these topics. And so that's why I think when you look at, you're comparing everything at the surface, they all look very similar. They're all going to say similar things. But if your site is hacked, the last thing you want to do is put a ticket in and wait 3 hours for someone to respond. You need somebody like there that minute to go, I'm checking this out right now, and we're
Yeah.
going to resolve it for you. And so that's the difference between what we do at Convesio and what most hosts do.
I think you're speaking directly to the agencies because A, you're on Slack, and B,
Right.
you're there for the team. So if I'm an account manager and I'm working with Convesio to host my 50 clients within the agency, how does that look in terms of a working relationship? So are you going to work through the account manager, or do you actually speak to the clients on the agency's behalf? Like, how do you set that up?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So some agencies want to be transparent that they use Convesio, and we find this with people that have larger client sites, right? So I just got on a call with a client yesterday, actually, a client and their client. They're one of the top 10 baseball sites in the US and they get millions of visitors. And they know the agency is relying on infrastructure experts for scaling. So sometimes you need to have the voice of that expert talk to the client to build confidence. So we do that for sure. Some clients refer their customers directly to us. And then some agencies that have 50, 20, 50, 100 like local business sites that maybe aren't at that level, they'll host Convesio. Their whole agency will be in there and we will back them up on support. And we're actually working on one of the observations that I had. And I bet your audience can probably relate to this. You know, the reward that you get as an agency when you get 200, 250, 300 sites, your reward is you're now inundated with hosting support issues every day. And it's maddening. I've seen this manifest itself where a hard question comes in. It comes to us as the host. We support the agency. They have to go back to the customer. I'm like, this is like craziness. I'm like, we're wasting so much time. So we're working on rolling out a white label support product where we will go on your branded email with a support help desk inbox and we will support your customers. Support is one of our centers of excellence. And so the typical experience with an agency is they get on with us and they're like, you guys are really great at support, let's just remove the middleman. Like, so you don't have to staff those people to go troubleshoot and triage stuff. We'll just deal what we can and send you the billing questions, the upgrade, whatever the criteria might be. So it makes everyone's life easier. It makes our life easier, the agencies, it saves so much time. And so that's a product that we're looking to launch here probably in beta in the next couple months. And I'm super excited about it because it's one of those things that I think is going to make the agency's life easier. It's depressing when you think about how hard you worked and now all of a sudden you're like, you have a support organization because you've got so many clients.
Oh, yeah, we see it all the time. We'll be working in an agency, a web dev agency, and they might have 200 clients that they're hosting. And our job sometimes is primarily just dealing with those clients,
Yeah.
right? Sure, we can do it, but if we had the support from you to just take that all off our plate, we could work on the bigger clients, the more profitable clients. That is where the ROI really is. So, I know you mentioned scaling and how you guys allow agencies to scale. This obviously ties in there, but tell me more about how and when agencies are able to scale when working with Convesio and how you see that happen.
Yeah. So I think that in our mind, one of the things that we've done is we have these three products, the host, convert, and pay. One of the things that I've been evangelizing is this notion that agencies should start to embrace this idea of becoming a revenue automation agency. And I'm all about these products create passive income streams for agencies that are purely profit. So, for instance, our payments product that we just launched, we share 20% of the net revenue of payment fees back to the agency. And so, as an agency, you can say, you know what? How do I grow and scale profitably? Okay. So, I don't have to necessarily be beholden to bookable hours per month that I have to deliver things for. I'll give you an example. If you are an e-commerce store, it's really simple. You wire up Convesio Pay to it, and you'll get a percentage in perpetuity of the revenue of the payment fees. But a lot of agencies don't specialize in e-com, and they're a little bit scared by it because it's a whole host of other stuff they're not used to, like inventory and taxes and product setup and all that. So let's just say, like, we just did an integration to a popular form builder. We have nonprofit tools integrations with GiveWP. Any of the tools that you build sites with, if you start to think about them in the terms of, I've got a nonprofit, I want to make a donation form, payment enable that. I've got a company that does online bookings. I want to make a deposit form for them. I want to build commerce enabled websites, not just brochureware sites, but like ways for people to actually pay online. we have a QuickBooks integration with Convesio Pay. And so if an agency uses QuickBooks or their clients use QuickBooks, they can wire that in to Convesio Pay and now payment enable their website. And that agency can share in those payment fees. And we believe that will allow agencies to scale with a purely profit-based scale. There's no labor they have to do. They don't have to support the client on this. They don't have to do anything, and it's just passive income. And so we're all about bringing to bear solutions for these agencies so that they can scale in the volume of clients that they have more efficiently, like with the white label support and our hosting, but also increase passive revenue streams like our email marketing product. We do incentives to give discounts to their clients plus rev share on top of it, for their clients' subscriptions and then payments.
That's really interesting. And that was going to be one of my other questions was just about the payment side, because I think that's a whole other world that scares people and scares
Yes.
agencies, and they might just choose Stripe or whatever because it's easier, but it doesn't have to be, it's not the best solution because there's other ways that you can profit off of using a tool like Convesio Pay. So any agency listening, any advice or like one thing you could tell them when it comes to this payment structure, how they can grow and scale based on that?
Yeah, I think the genesis of the payments product was we want to make aligned incentives. We're very much a big believer in this idea that everyone wins when people's incentives are aligned. I'll give you an example. So let's say that you build an e-commerce form, store, whatever it might be for a client. Their goal is to sell more, right? So transact more, generate more revenue. Let's just say that's their goal. Well, if you share in the revenue of the payment fees, now that's your goal too. Okay. You as an agency have skin in the game. The more they sell, the more you make. As Convesio, the more that they sell, the more the agency makes, the more Convesio makes. So we now have aligned incentives. And that's why, quite frankly, we've added tools like Convert, our marketing platform, which is sort of like a very sophisticated MailChimp. It's like more akin to like what a Klaviyo is or Active Campaign. Um, and so it has the ability to engage your audience and get them to come back and buy and do cross sell and upsell and abandoned cart emails. And so you start layering all these things in, and now we have a 100% aligned incentive structure where the agency, the end user, the agency, and Convesio, with all of our collective resources, are aligned to generating more revenue for that end customer. And that's where we think magic will happen, right? Because we're only limited by the success that we can drive for our clients at that point.
That's right. That's right. And especially as account managers, all we care about is how do we make clients happy? How do we keep them on? How do we make sure they're seeing success? So, working with teams like you, where you're always looking for these opportunities to make it better for the client, is so exciting. And it's so great from my perspective as an account manager. So, that's exciting.
Yeah. You as an account manager, and I've always said this, like I've have this philosophy when it comes to account management that it's like my experience has been it's 50% perception and 50% results. I have had it where you can have a client that you're crushing it for, but you might, if you're disengaged, they don't feel like they're getting their money's worth. You can have a client on the flip side of that that you're highly engaged with, and maybe you're struggling to show the results, but because you're so engaged, they will give you runway to get the results right. And so you really, as an account manager, you have to strike this balance between the level of effort the client perceives that you're putting in and the results that you're getting. No one of those will keep a client long term, but both of them together over a period of time will keep a client for a very long time and maximize those retention rates. And so I think that as for the account manager, it's all about having tools in your toolbox that you can leverage to get the results that the client is looking for.
You're speaking my language, Tom. I love it. So what's next for Convesio? Any big updates other than the new service side that you'll be launching in the next couple of months? What should we keep an eye out for?
There's a lot of stuff happening with AI, as everyone knows. There's a lot of innovation, revolution coming with AI, agents, and tools. And so we already have AI features built into our email marketing platform. We're looking to double down on that type of stuff. We want to deliver more AI work. And I'll give you a real quick teaser of something we're sort of investigating here, and we're doing a little bit of research on it right now. But my feedback from our agency clients has been, I don't want AI just for AI's sake. If you could build something that monitors a site for me or an account for me and analyzes how it's performing and what it's doing, and then provide detailed tasks for us as an agency, then that would be good for us, because part of the bottleneck a lot of agencies have is freeing up the sort of higher level people to figure out, what should I do on an account to move it forward. So if we can leverage AI to sort of be keeping its hand on the pulse of a website, a business, an e-com store, whatever it might be, looking at analytics, looking at error logs in the website, and then just serving that up as action items the agency can knock down. It's this, we call it continuous improvement methodology, where it's like the site's continuously getting better and better and better. So a year after working with us, you're in a infinitely better place than you were when you got with us a year ago. And so that's a tool we're interested in evaluating building. And you can do that manually now, but there's no real easy button to do it collectively for a portfolio.
That's exciting. Can't wait to hear more about that when it launches. We'll have to have you back on the podcast for updates when that happens. Well, where can people learn more about you, Tom, and Convesio, and kind of look around and see if it's the right fit for them?
Sure. Yeah. Convesio.com. You can Google us. You can find me on LinkedIn. My email address is just tom@convesio.com. So if anyone wants to email me, I'm happy to chat. We can provide all the links for your listeners on the episode page, but we're pretty easy to find online.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I think this was such a great episode. And really, as account managers, we want all the tools in our tool belt to help clients. And if this is one of them, definitely check them out. I've never heard of hosting, converting, selling for websites specifically for agencies. So this is such a unique solution for all of our agency partners and any listeners. So definitely check them out. And thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Happy Clients podcast. We'll see you on the next one.
Cheers to happy clients.